Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And what we're going to look at in this video is the brand new Grandstream Wi-Fi 7 AP. This is the GWN7670. This is their first Wi-Fi 7 AP. I do want to let you know there are other Wi-Fi 7 APs coming out in the Grandstream line. This is just the first one that we've been able to get our hands on. It is only 2x2. There's no 6 gigahertz in this. You can manage it with all of the same options. So this can be a controller. Another AP can control this. You can join it to GWN Manager on-prem, the GWN series of firewalls, the GCC converged solution can manage this, or you can join it to GDMS.cloud. Whew, that was a mouthful, right? So Grandstream gives you so many different management platforms, and you can migrate in between them if you're not happy with one of them. So you can see that this is a little bit of a departure from the Grandstream access points. And I had somebody say, well, that looks like they copied another company, but that's like saying that like Aruba copied Cisco. You know, sometimes we make these design choices to fit the internals. I don't know what the redesign choice was on this. I was fine with the design of the other APs, but on the front, you can see we've got a single LED. We've got Wi-Fi 7 up here. Down here, it says Grandstream. On the back, you can see it's ribbed for your pleasure. If you follow me on some of the social channels, I posted that last night. So this is a big metal heat sink on the back. Here somewhere. There you go. We've got two 2.5 gig ports. One of them is PoE plus, but they are both 2.5 gig. We are going to try to set a lag up. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try it once we plug it in. What else do you get in the box? You get the mounting bracket for the AP itself. So this is a change in the mounting brackets, so you can't just swap these with the other APs. And then if you're mounting this on a drop ceiling, this is the piece that goes above the drop ceiling, right? What else do you get? You get a bag full of screws and anchors. And then you always get a quick start guide, quick installation guide. And they give a shout out to the GNU in here. They tell you what all the ports are. There is also a reset button on this. And the other thing, let's see, is there anything? It is, like I said, it's Wi-Fi 7, so it does support MLO. We'll take a look at that, which is the multi-link. Before we get this fired up and get it on the network, let's take a quick look at the tear sheet, the data sheet from Grandstream Networks. You can see it's a very nice looking AP. It is 2x2 by 2 MIMO, however you want to pronounce that. Let's see, Wi-Fi 7 certified. Like I said, no 6 gigahertz here, just the 2.4 and the 3.6 gigabits of aggregate wireless throughput. Now, that doesn't mean that you're getting 3.6 gigabits from one client out. That's not what that means. So you got to pay attention to marketing. Got 175 meter coverage, 256 concurrent connected devices. Every vendor should tell you it's connected concurrent devices, not everybody transmitting at once, because wireless is a shared medium, just like a wire, because yes, wireless is physical. Advanced QoS, anti-hacking secure boot, which means we cannot load a third-party firmware onto this. PoE plus, embedded controller, can manage 50 other APs. Like I said, the GDMS networking, you can do GWN Manager on-prem, tons of management options with this. So Wi-Fi standards, we have A, B, G, N, AC, AX, and BE. You can see on the 5G, on the BE, you can get up to 2.8 gigabits per second, 688 megabits on the 2.4. Anything else to note here? If you see something, let me know. A total of 32 SSIDs, which is actually 16 per band, right? So 16 SSIDs on the 2.4 and 16 on the 5. 256 clients, like we already talked about, dual 2.5 gig Ethernet ports. It does have low power Bluetooth 5.3 in there, and you can do things with it like Bluetooth tracking, probably management, things like that. Now, if you do want to adopt this over to the cloud, instead of being an old man like me or some of the other YouTubers and trying to squint and read the stuff on the back, if you're using the GDMS app on your phone, you can actually scan the barcode on the back and then adopt it into your cloud controller. So you don't have to try to type all that stuff. Right here, it tells you that the embedded controller on this can manage 50 APs. Your GCC series can manage this. Your GWN router series can manage this. If you're running GWN Manager on-prem, it says for up to 3,000 GWN APs can be managed. It's probably dependent on your hardware that you're running. Maximum power consumption of the device is 14.5 watts. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get this plugged in the other room into my Grandstream switch that's all multi-gig. We're going to get into the interface and we're going to see what it's all about. So stay tuned. I will be right back. I'm actually going to plug in both Ethernet ports and see if we can lag it as well. So stand by. All right, so here we are. I actually created a loop because things weren't configured correctly yet as far as the lag goes. So I had to unplug it and reboot, and I did have to take a picture of the back. Somehow managed to lose my little sticker with the other copy of the password, but fear not, these old eyes can see this picture that I took. So we're going to log into this for the first time, and we're going to see what happens here. Now the device just booted, so it might take it just a second here. All right, so we get the setup wizard. Let's run through that. So we'll go next. This is the GWN7670. I'm not going to adopt it into a controller. We're going to run it by itself. We're going to create an SSID, and we're going to call this GS Wi-Fi 7. Security mode, WPA2. Let's see. We're going to change the pre-shared key here. And we're going to put this on this device, and we'll go to complete here. So it's going to restart its services, and here in a second on my phone I should see, and actually the next thing that I want to do is I want to go to System Settings Account. I'm going to put in this current administrator password that is crazy, and I want to change it to our lab password. So we're going to save that and we'll apply it. Real quick, we'll run through this menu, then we'll do some speed testing. Maintenance, we're going to change the firmware server to firmware.grandstream.com, and I don't think that that's going to work because they had to change the network stuff because people were having devices automatically upgrade. So I think that's going to fail there. So I'll have to find that complete path, or I'll have to join it to a controller and push it through the controller. But anyway, here's our overview. It sees my other two APs. We're not going to adopt those. If we look at the status, it is a GWN7660. It is primary. I can locate the device over here. Then under configuration, I can come in here. I can select this. I can hit upgrade. I can't select the primary first. Also, I can transfer the AP. If I had a second one, I could fail over to the master. All those good things. Well, let's go ahead and edit this AP. We'll call this Lab GWN 7670. We're not going to put a fixed IP on it. The LED, we can put it on a schedule, always on, always off. I'll just leave that. I'm not going to do band steering or schedules. Disable port none. And then So here's our PoE port. It could be a trunk port or an access port. You can change that second one as well. And I don't see a lag option here because we would have to be able to lag it on this side and on the side of the switch. So I don't know that lag is available on this yet. I'm going to go ahead and save this. We're going to leave everything default temporarily. The one thing I didn't see there was the MLO option. So MLO is going to allow your device to transmit simultaneously on different frequencies, the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz at the same time. I did not see that in here anywhere. It might be somewhere else in the setup here. Yep, MLO right here. So we'll do a speed test without it, and then we'll turn it on and see what we get. So you got all the same options that you have with all of your other Grandstream access points. We can see our connected clients here. We've got all of our familiar access control lists, time policies, bandwidth rules, private pre-shared keys. We can create our captive portal right within the device. You can design your splash page here. You can do vouchers. You don't have to have some fancy server to do this. Here's our radio settings all the way around. Under security, we can do rogue AP detection and we can do containment. You have to be very, very careful when you use this because if you are blocking other people's access points, you can get in trouble for that. So just use that with caution. It's got a firewall that we can configure here, ARP defense, ND, attack defense, hotspot 2.0, which everybody's pretty hot on right now, and there are places paying you to actually do hotspot 2.0. So basically what that does is if you're subscribed to a hotspot 2.0 service, is it offloads data from the cell phone carriers to Wi-Fi networks, and you can get paid for that. We've got SNMP. It does have a DHCP server we can configure. Your TR069 settings, L2TP version 3, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to do a configuration video on that because you typically only find that in more expensive access points, but Grandstream has included it. And I'm really surprised no one else has keyed in on that, but I am going to do that video here pretty soon. All right, so what I'm going to do on my phone is I'm going to connect, and this is just running default out of the box. Now you have to remember I only have gig down and I have 40 meg up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to the GS Wi-Fi 7. I'm going to connect to that. It's obtaining an IP address, checking for internet access, connected. Now, this is behind 2 sheets of drywall, and it's just propped up against a NAS that I have in that other room. So it's about at hip height, probably about 3 feet high. So let me pull up the old speed test, and this is going out to the internet. And so we're going to run this right now. And it says I'm connected to the internet. And I'm not going to turn on notifications. Blah, blah, blah. Speed test wants me to do all kinds of stuff. So I just want a regular speed test. So right now with this single client, I'm getting 334 meg down, and I'm getting about 30 meg up. And like I said, that's not optimal placement. It's all out of the box. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hop back over here, and we are going to turn on that MLO, and we're going to see if the speed gets any better. We're going to apply that. I'm assuming I was connected previously at 5 gigahertz, but we should check the clients here in just a second and see. Everything refreshes here. And then of course I'll disconnect my Wi-Fi client and reconnect it. It dropped it for me, so I'll have to reconnect to it here. Need this network to restart, which I'm sure that it will. While we're waiting for this, how many of you are moving to Wi-Fi 7 access points? As you're doing new deployments, are you installing Wi-Fi 7? Are you still doing Wi-Fi 6E, Wi-Fi 6? Where's everybody else at? Or is it based on cost? Because I totally get that. Businesses don't always just run out and do the latest upgrades. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reconnect to my GS Wi-Fi 7. Let's see if we can see the client. So we can see that I'm connected on 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz both here. And if we look at our link rate, you can see my 2.4 gigahertz is only connected at 1 meg and my 5 gigahertz is connected at 6 meg. This thing may need a firmware upgrade. I got to check and see what the firmware is. I didn't see another firmware out there, but I've got the speed test up again here, and we're going to run it, and we're going to see what happens. So with the MLO on, I'm not getting much better speed. You can see the 2.4 gigahertz has a really poor connection, that negative 95. The 5G is almost perfect. So let's see here. I don't want to kick us out. So the completed test with the MLO was 337 down and 30 up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back in here, and I'm actually going to turn off MLO, and I'm going to put this on 2.4 gigahertz only. So we'll save that and apply it. It'll kick me off. We'll run this speed test. We'll run just a 5 gigahertz speed test, and then we'll see what happens. I need to get this mounted so it's optimal. Like I said, there's all kinds of stuff in my closet here blocking it. It is about 3 foot off the ground. It's tilted. It's just a quick setup to see if I could even get connectivity, get it plugged in, and show it to you. So we'll see what happens here. Let me pull my internet back up while this network reloads. Okay, looks like it is reloaded. Let me refresh these networks. And now I'm connected to GS Wi-Fi 7. So let's take a look at the clients. Am I sure I'm connected there? It says I am, but we don't see us in the clients for some reason. There it is. So you can see now I've got a negative 38, which is awesome, and my link rate is 206 megabits per second. So in theory, that's all I'm going to be able. I shouldn't be able to top out over my physical connection, right? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. No, I can't. So with Wi-Fi, when you see your physical connection, you can have that, and that's about what you're going to get. So right now I'm getting 95 megabits down, 97, 98 down, and I'm getting 30 on the upload. So you can see what I got there. So now let's hop back over here, and we are going to go to the SSIDs, and we are going to edit this, and we're going to make this 5 gigahertz only, and we'll apply that. And then as soon as it applies it and kicks us, then we'll reconnect and we'll do another. Oh, you know, the other thing that I could do as soon as this comes up is I could actually look at what our channel bandwidth is on. And I just now thought of that. So as soon as this gets done, we'll look at what we've got for channel width. Because the wider your channels, the more you're going to interfere and not be a good neighbor, but the faster your throughput's going to be, but also the closer to the access point you're going to have to be. So there are some nuances to that. So as soon as this saves, we'll go in here and we'll change this. I may have to change that on the on the radio. Let's see here. So we'll go access points or radio. We'll go down here to the 5G. We'll do 160 megahertz radio with high power. We'll go ahead and save this and apply this. It's going to make a bunch of changes. You see there, 31 changes. So it's going to change those, but then we'll hop back on it and we'll see what we get. Now you also have to remember, right now I've got 3 TVs streaming. There's an Xbox going, probably 3 other phones, plus all my lab stuff. So I'm not going to get a gigabit anyway, but let's see if we can get higher than what we got before. Excuse me. So as soon as this network saves, and I do need to check that firmware after the video. I am going to replace one of my access points with this and run this full time. All right, so that's saved. So let me reconnect to the network. It says I'm connected. Let's go to the clients. Might be negotiating here. Connected. Show me on the client page. Let me hop over to my other SSID and then I'll hop back over to this one. Now remember, we doubled that bandwidth, and there we go. So we're at a negative 45. Our link rate is 1.7 gig. So let's hop back over to our speed test now that we are on that. And we will run this speed test and see what happens. So download, I'm still getting about that 300 or a little above. While that's running, I'm actually going to open up a speed test on my desktop and see what I get on that, just to make sure that there's something not crazy going on with the internet. So I got 333 down and 31.7 up. So must be a busy night in the neighborhood, because on my desktop I'm getting 391 down and I'm 396. So from this I was getting 333 and I'm only getting 30 megabits up on my desktop. So my gig connection, I'm not getting gig tonight. So lots of traffic probably in the neighborhood, lots of traffic on the internal network. And so on my desktop, I got less than 400 megabits down. So I'm going to have to fire up the old internal speed test server and see what we get to that. So let me do that real quick. Hold on. Okay, so this is my internal speed test server, which is 66.197. So from my desktop, now it's 1 gig from my desktop to a 2.5 gig switch, which is uplinked to the speed test server at 10 gigabit. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up on my phone on this Wi-Fi 7 access point. .197. So you can see from my desktop, I'm getting almost a full gigabit. So the internet test was not exactly fair. So let's get this going over here. So now I'm on my phone connected to the internal speed test server. And I'm going to hit start. So now I'm going right to a 2.5 gig access point, which is then connected directly to, so it's a 2.5 gig access point to a 2.5 gig switch, which is 2.5 gig to another switch, which is 10 gig to the speed test server. So, and on that, I got 534 down and 685 up. So if we come in here, let's mess with this just a little bit more on the SSIDs. We'll come in here and we'll do 2.4 and 5, and we'll do MLO, and we'll save that and apply that change. That should kick me. I should then reconnect. Now, through my Wi-Fi 6 AP that I've got running outside of this, if I connect to that and I run this speed test, it's only connected at a gig, and I'm getting about 300 megabits on that, but almost every other device on the upper floor is connected to that. So anyway, we'll see what happens after this saves its changes. We will, I will make sure that, you know, I talk to Grandstream about this and see if there's a new firmware coming out. You know how it is, all these device manufacturers, you get a new firmware that comes out, and you got to make sure that you update and all that good stuff. So I'm going to connect back over using the MLO. It says it's connected. Doesn't show me here quite yet. There it is. So you can see where I'm connected here, and I'm connected at a physical rate on the 5 gigahertz at 1.9 gigabits and 154 meg on that one. So let's hop back over. We'll refresh the speed test server here, and it must be communicating on 2.4 gigahertz only, because it's like 266 down and 57 meg up. So between my internet not going that fast tonight and just messing around with these configuration settings, that's where we're at. So I'm definitely interested to see what's coming down the pipe with Grandstream, and these things can only get better. If you've got questions about this AP, I am going to be running it. There's going to be probably 50 to 60 devices connected to it once I get it moved over into production. So if you've got any questions about this, let me know down in the comments. If you're running these, let me know how they're working for you. I got my device after they were released to the public. If I'm not on the latest firmware, I'm on 1.0.25.8. We can actually check that out real quick. And that could be some of the issues if I'm not on a good firmware. And this is the let's see, 7670, and this is the latest firmware so far. So I probably need to do some tuning to this before I do any more speed tests. Let me know what your experience is so far. Like I said, I'm excited for this. MSRP on this guy right now, you can pick him up for about $87 to $89 at your distributor, which is the lowest cost that I've seen for a Wi-Fi 7 enterprise grade access point. So that's kind of where we're at. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and share. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Those links are down below, along with affiliate links, a Patreon link. And if you need IT consulting, head on over to williehowe.com. Fill out the contact form on the front page. Whether it's network inspection, network spec and build, network configuration, security, if you need voice over IP, storage, all the things, we can help you out. Head on over there to williehowe.com, fill out the contact form. If you, I do know for a fact there's a thread started about this access point over on community.williehowe.com. Come on over and check it out. Once again, I'm Willie. I want to thank you for being here, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.